What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Hands-On channel. Unfortunately, I've got a whole bunch of bad news to read to you guys. The reason I haven't been able to put this news up in the past few days is because I've been on a strike. YouTube said I was spreading misinformation about the 2020 election because I simply voiced my opinion on one of the videos I did like back in February. So this video has been up since February of 2022 and they just now nailed me on it. So watch out if you're a creator. They'll get you for something on one of your older videos, and it just really makes my blood boil that we're living in such a tyrannical Orwellian time where you've got this ministry of truth called YouTube and Operation Mockingbird controlling the free press. Guys, we have to get the word out on this stuff. It's up to you guys, because YouTube is not going to share this information. They don't like me. They don't like people with my point of view that look at things rationally and try to look at things from both sides of the aisle. They want people that are cookie cutter liberal Democrats. That's what they're looking for, or communists, even better. So, we're in such bad trouble. This is the most important news I've ever reported on. So here we go. Some of this stuff is several days old because, again, I'm not going to be able to upload this for 2 or 3 days because I'm in timeout, YouTube's ridiculous rules. Anyhow, let's get into this. USA is stockpiling anti-radiation drugs. Why do you think that is? It's because they know there's a very high potential of nuclear annihilation. In fact, Biden warned a couple of days ago of nuclear Armageddon. He said we haven't seen or been in this much threat since the Cuban Missile Crisis. And I agree with both of those statements. But here's the real question that the media should be asking. If we had a free press, we'd be asking these questions. How did we get here, Biden? Was it your policies? Was it you using Ukraine as a proxy to fight Russia? And all your people coming out and saying we need to get rid of Putin? Is that any of our business? Should we be meddling around the world to the point where it's going to cause nuclear annihilation? Isn't that pretty bad for the freaking climate? Unbelievable, guys. And I'm sorry to be so passionate, but this stuff is very concerning to me. I almost wasn't going to make a video on it because I figure a lot of you guys are probably feeling the same way I am. You don't know what to do. You just know now all of a sudden you're in a threat of nuclear annihilation, or an Armageddon, as Biden called it. I didn't call it that. It's not just some guy on the internet saying it now. Biden warns of nuclear Armageddon. You should get serious. If you're not prepping right now, frankly, you ain't going to make it. You ain't going to make it. Let's just be real about it. If you're not prepping by now, and with everything you've seen since Biden has come in, then you must be off. You must be missing some screws or something. You must be living in a different reality than I'm living in. Putin has isolated himself in a bunker, a nuclear bunker, because he also thinks there's a big chance of nuclear annihilation. And what really scares me about this is our media is so dishonest, so controlled by the CIA, Operation Mockingbird, and the Ministry of Truth like YouTube, that they may not report the truth. What if the United States or one of our proxies ends up starting the war and blaming it on Putin? Very, very likely. It's hard to tell what's true anymore. That's exactly what one of the people, I'll put the post up here if I can find it, but one of the people that used to run the CIA back in the day, he says, you'll know our Operation Mockingbird is complete when everything the American people believe is a lie. That's where we are, guys. Americans better wake up and realize that the Russians are genuinely pissed off about this. And they're trying to say all this stuff, the headlines on the top of the Drudge Report, the liberal-run Drudge Report. Don't forget that. They've been taken over by the liberals. They're no longer a good news source anymore, in case you don't know or haven't noticed. It's mostly MSM, basically liberal agenda that they put on Drudge Report now. So it's hard to get any good news there. But anyway, Drudge Report was saying, basically they're playing the Russia's beat thing. They showed one tank where these guys had surrendered and put up a white flag, and they're saying that's it. White flags are flying. Russia's given up. All these people are fleeing, and some people may be fleeing. Some people may be giving up, but Russia hasn't begun to fight the war yet. When they do, you better look out, Jack, because what they've been doing so far, notice they haven't been bombing anything or using any of their high-tech equipment. They've been using their old stuff. Why is that? It's because Russia doesn't want to show what they can really do. For one thing, they've got these missiles called Satan II missiles is what we call them. And they're basically the biggest nuke we've ever seen. It has like something like 18 warheads or something like that attached to it. If he launched one of these hypersonic missiles, we couldn't knock it down if we wanted to. And he could blow up enough of the United States that it would send us back into the 1850s immediately. We're in real trouble, guys. Prepare now. Prepare yourselves. You might want to start thinking about putting your sensitive electronics in Faraday cages. They're very simple to make. All you need is a metal box, and make sure that the electronic device isn't touching any of the sidewalls of the metal box. I've often wondered if my big 30 by 30 metal shop building wouldn't act as a Faraday cage. I don't know, but it's time to start thinking that way, guys. We're on the brink of nuclear destruction. So, power-mad brinkmanship. Zelensky demands preemptive strikes on Russia to stop them from doing a nuclear strike. He demands that we strike them first. And then Ukraine is frantically trying to walk back Zelensky's statements and his call for preemptive strikes on Russia. So, there you go, talking out of both sides of their mouths there. Of course, Zelensky, in typical dictator fashion, has banned all the opposing news sites and things like that in his country. So you're not allowed to have a free press over there. He probably learned that from the United States of America. Watch this video get banned because I'm talking too much truth. Talk of civil war. And it's ignited by Mar-a-Lago search. It's flaring online. So that was one of the headlines I just wanted you guys to be aware of. It's not bad enough. We've got the possibility of potential nuclear Armageddon, as Biden called it. Now we've got to worry about a constant talks about civil war all the time from both sides. These people want this. And who are these people? The New World Order. I've talked to them. I've talked to you about it. I've tried to explain who these people are, what they want, what their agendas are. That's who's doing this stuff. That's who wins. Klaus Schwab, Bill Gates. You know, they're not going to be hurting. George Soros, they're not going to be hurting. They're probably all in their nuclear bunkers right now, chatting back and forth, laughing at us, waiting for the moment when we all die and they get to come out and be king of the world, finally. You know, it's just unbelievable. These people exist. They're psychopaths, and they're in power. So here's another one that you ought to be on the lookout for if we make it through nuclear annihilation. Federal Reserve announces major pilot exercise for ESG social credit system. Isn't that great? It's so bad I'm going to have to put on my anti-communist glasses because I've got a little note in here. Climate finance is almost identical to the Chinese Communist Party's social credit score system. There you go. There you go. Bringing it right here to the United States of America, where if you read our rules and our laws, if that law violates the Constitution or the principles of the United States of America or treaty, then it is null and void. We only have to obey the supreme law of the land. And if anything else goes outside of that and doesn't comply with the supreme law of the land, it is null and void. And you're really, not only should you do it, you're obligated to do it. You're obligated to defy that law. Peaceful non-compliance. Biden is preparing a major executive order to shield over 600,000 illegal immigrants from deportation. Yay! What a humanitarian. He's not going to let any of them come up to Martha's Vineyard, though, or Delaware, or Chicago, or New York. No. He wants them in your town, in your city, taking your jobs. Biden America. Criminals disable entire fleet of school buses by stealing all the catalytic converters. That's how bad it is. Do you remember ever hearing about any of that sort of stuff? Now, I heard about catalytic converter theft for the past 4 or 5 years, but it wasn't as high as it is now. And why is that? Because people are getting freaking desperate. They're more and more desperate. They're going to do more and more desperate things. Lock your stuff up, guys. Things are going to get way worse. Biden economy, job destruction. U.S. adds the lowest number of jobs in 18 months. Yeah, it's just almost like everything's fallen right into place for the Great Reset and the UN Agenda 21 2030. You will own nothing and you will be happy. Well, that's BS. That's BS. That sounds like a threat to me. No. You're not taking my stuff away from me, Klaus Schwab. No, Bill Gates. You can't have my stuff. No, I'm not giving you my health liberty either. Virginia County stops using Chinese-linked Koenig election software following CEO's arrest for sending data to China. So that's good news. At least this one Virginia county stopped using this crap that's obviously being used by or at very least manipulated and used for data collection by the Chinese. Is that a good idea? To be letting them spy on us? You remember, I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago, I talked about, I don't remember where that was, Nebraska or somewhere like that. Maybe it was one of the Dakotas, but there was a Chinese company that came in and bought up all this farmland right next to a military base that could be used to spy on the military operations that are going on there. Is that something a responsible government would allow? No. No. But if you say anything about it or you try to question it, then they accuse you of like racism or some other weird off-the-wall thing that has nothing to do with national security. Guys, the demoralization is complete. We're into the destabilization phase, far into it. This is the point where, Biden, I believe, is brought in to bring in the end of the United States of America. He's being controlled by people like Obama and Rice and other people behind the scenes are controlling him, Soros, other people like that. But Biden is the one, I believe, that's being brought in to bring on not only potentially the end of the United States of America, but the end of the entire West. Because if we go nuclear, it's going to be Russia and China and probably some other stragglers like Iran versus the West. And the West is not unified. No, no, no. We saw what happened over in Australia, the horrific lockdowns that they've been going through because of the COVID and all this other stuff and forcing people to get the jab and things like this. It's the Western countries that have been doing that stuff. So the last one here about that Koenig guy, the Koenig election software CEO who was arrested earlier for ties to China and labeled a significant flight risk. He was caught with luggage on his way to Michigan airport and he left his cell phone behind and has substantial ties to China. We have spies all amongst us. Our media is being controlled by Operation Mockingbird and the CIA, and they're doing many, many, many other things. I watched a video just a little while ago about a woman who was on her front porch. Her husband had been arrested for going to some sort of a pro-life rally. They're arresting people. And when you look at these, if you watch that video that I'm talking about, I'll try to provide a link to it here. If you watch that video, you'll just see how these people in the FBI look exactly like the SS in the Nazi times. I mean, these are the modern day brown shirts, the Nazis, the people that are being weaponized against the American people. For what? For having different views than the mainstream media. Guys, we're in a heap of trouble. Please, 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 please listen to me. Go stock up now. Spread this information if you want it to get out there. I don't know how much longer this thing's going to last, but I'm going to go spend the rest of my weekend with my sister who's coming into town and her son. We're going to hang out and have a good time, go fishing. And I'm just going to try to imagine that, it's the good old USA again. And I'm going to try not to let this stuff bother me. But in the back part of my mind, that little thing back there in the back of my mind, I'm going to be thinking, how in the hell are we going to get out of this situation that Biden and Obama and Victoria Nuland and George Soros and Klaus Schwab and Bill Gates and all of these other people, the Bilderberger group, it's on and on and on. The people that are the enemies of freedom have taken control of this country. What are you going to do about it? Please stock up now. I stand for liberty. I hope you do too. Hopefully I'll get to make another video in the future before everything goes to nuclear annihilation. We'll see you next time.